Nathaniel Hackett said that he has not heard anything from Sean Payton.
No way he's calling him. What's he gonna call him? Be like, hey man, sorry, but you guys did suck.
Yeah.
Like what?
Was I wrong?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Schlabcast. This is Jeff. We got Andy and Caleb joining us per usual. Not sure where July went, but it's come and gone. And we have 37 days until the 2023 NFL season begins. We're going to be talking about just some more off-season notes, a few quarterback contract extensions, some holdouts, some injury news. Without further ado, let's dive right in. You guys doing okay? Andy, Caleb, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Sold a golf cart. It was a pain, but there it goes.
You did it, and it's gone.
I did it.
Andy, how about you, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Excited for football. Only 2 days away from our first preseason game. Really exciting matchup. We got Zach Wilson versus Kellen Mond on Thursday night. So get your popcorn ready.
I plan on filling my entire living room with popcorn.
Seeing that it is like training camp, do you guys have any training camp memories? You guys attend any training camps?
Dennis and I used to go, my brother-in-law and I would go, and we'd get massive breakfast burritos, go down there, park about a mile away and walk in, classic Schwab donkey style. And we'd watch our boy P. Rivs throw to some vets like Gates and Malcolm Floyd and people like that. I believe, I don't know, I can't remember the last one I went to, maybe 2015 or 16, something around then. Definitely have training camp memories. I know you went out to Philadelphia to watch some Eagles training camps a few times, right, Andy?
It was a while back. It was when Andy Reid was still head coach. I saw Deshaun Jackson, Donovan, LaShawn, all of those guys practice at Lehigh, just like a smaller area, which was nice just because it was more intimate. I like that setting. What about you, Caleb?
I haven't been to any training camps, and having moved now to Southern California, I should probably go out to a Cowboys one in Oxnard.
Absolutely.
But just with my, occupation and stuff, training camp happens right when everything's starting to come up again with me. So it's always just like a busy time of year. But one of these years I'd like to make it out. I would drive by the Bengals training camp sometimes because they had like this outdoor thing you could see down from some of the bridges you'd cross over there in Ohio. And there were a few times I'd see their stuff going on, but someday.
Let's get right into it. Let's talk about some of these ridiculous quarterback contract extension numbers. Andy, how about you lead it off? Hurts kind of started the offseason, and then it was kind of a trickle down after that. I don't know. You want to start since your guy was first?
Yeah, for sure. So in this offseason, Hurts signed his 5-year, $255 million extension. Josh Allen did sign his a few years ago, 6 years, $258. About a month or so ago, we had Lamar sign his 5 years, $260 million. And then just recently, about a week ago, Justin Herbert was the most recent quarterback to sign his 5-year, $262.5 million extension. So it's just a matter of time before Burrow signs his.
Yeah, it'd probably be a few more million. We're thinking in that 265 range. Just absolute ridiculous numbers being thrown at these guys. Right off the bat, do any of these guys strike you as non-deserving of this money? Or I think we can all probably agree that they're the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the league.
I think Lamar has a big question mark above his head now. The rest I can definitely see. And I think even just the Josh Allen at 6 years is just, you're giving so much time to a skill player, essentially. I just don't know how you can put that much faith into one guy for that long. But Hurts, I think, is a good number. Same with Herbert. I think Burrow, out of all of them, is the guy I would want to lead my team over the next 5 years. So I definitely would agree with that number if it turns out staying there too.
How about you, Andy? Any comments?
I agree with Caleb. Josh Allen, I saw a stat actually. The last 2 years, he's had 37 turnovers, which is like a whopping number.
Big yikes.
So for as spectacular plays, he makes and everything like that, yeah, he's got to fix that. Lamar also, as great as he is like a runner, I think he still has some question marks about the throwing. He does have weapons now. Odell, they drafted Zay Flowers, so maybe that'll change a lot of things. Eagles fans, obviously I'm biased, but I think Hurts is well deserving. I think he's shown that he's improved each and every year. in like all phases of his game. It's just going with the quarterback market. It's going to be a high deal, but where he's at, and he's very young too, I believe just 24. I think the thing with Joe Burrow, he is going to become the highest paid quarterback slash player in a few weeks or so, but I think he does have slight injury concerns. But yeah, the Mahomes deal overall is looking like a big steal. He's only getting 63 million guaranteed. For example, Hertz, I just looked up, is getting 180 million guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's a huge
Okay,
difference.
that makes a lot
times
more.
as much.
Herbert is getting 218 guaranteed.
I think Mahomes just wants to be a Chief then his whole career. Trayvon Diggs too, lightning, just bottled up. He can make some huge plays. I think sometimes he's a little too over aggressive, especially this past season. He gave up some big plays on defense when it was like third and longs, second and longs, give up like 25-yard plays. So he's just trying to overjump stuff at all times now. But if he can just, find that middle spot between 2 years ago and last season, then I think he's deserving of that extension. Probably my favorite Cowboy right now is Zach Martin, a freaking stud for years. I can understand why he's holding out. He's like the 8th highest paid guard right now, or he's supposed to be this like upcoming season. So he's definitely like a second to none right guard. At first, it seemed like, people were expecting this. Jerry had some comments, but it seems like Jerry's getting a little more agitated about it. He does have a lot of guys he's going to have to pay coming up here. Some of the younger guys will renegotiate other contracts too. So obviously Zach goes right into the forefront there. He's due, I think, 14 million this year. I still think that's a fair number. I don't think he's hurting the team. I expect him to miss a lot of training camp. I don't think he really needs to be there. I don't expect him to miss games.
Do you expect them to give him some sort of reworked contract or like some sort of incentives?
Probably incentives, but I don't see them making a new contract.
While he's absolutely deserving of it, I think Jerry Jones was in the Cowboys organization was just more surprised. They're focusing on a lot of the youth. Trayvon Diggs to that huge extension. He mentioned we have to have money for Micah.
I believe CD's got to rework a rookie contract. Pollard's on the franchise tag. So if they're going to want to keep him, he needs a contract. I don't know what they're going to do with some others on the defensive side, like Van Der Esch in the long run. Maybe rework some of his stuff because he's had some injury problems, but we'll just see how the money goes around. At least they've gotten some of the other big contracts already done and out of the way.
I can just kind of see Jerry Jones reacting, being like, oh, my boy Zach's not going to do us dirty like that. Like he's a good guy, like we can pay the other guys. You can get your money later, Zach. Like, I don't know. I can see it being a surprise to him, but you shouldn't be surprised because of the level of player he is. So if everybody else is holding out for bigger deals, why can't a top guard do it? May not be the sexiest position, but he deserves the money just like everyone.
No matter what he said, he ended it with a wink.
Talk about some of these running back situations too. Yeah. Saquon got a little bit better of a deal, an incentive basically to play. I think it includes them making the playoffs as one of them, and him getting over a certain number of yards to bump him up like another million over the 10 million franchise tag. I like that a little bit. It gets him to camp and playing and a team player again. I don't see Josh Jacobs doing anything like that, or the Raiders offering him something like that. But that just goes back to that ridiculous Daniel Jones contract. And why didn't you try to save some of that money for your other best player? And just this whole running back situation going on. And we can move into Jonathan Taylor in a second. But I'd want to get your guys' thoughts on what's going to happen to Josh and Saquon. And
regardless of how we think about the running back position, it's just crazy still how the Giants had to wait till the last minute to tag Saquon in order to extend Daniel Jones that 160 million. And then flash forward when Saquon finally does accept that franchise tag that $11 million deal, the next day or within that same day, they throw on the huge 5-year extension for their O tackle, like over 118 million. Yeah. So it's just crazy.
Idiots, dude. Such idiots. I don't understand it at all. They just really just don't trust Saquon, I guess. But the guy only really had that one down year when he was hurt. Otherwise, he's been great. It's just turned into this prove it or you don't get anything type of thing with running backs now. And like Jonathan Taylor is like 1 year removed from being the top running back. And all of a sudden, like, boom, you could go die tomorrow if you want, or whatever the hell Irsay said.
That was pretty wild.
That guy is crazy for sure. From being a Texans fan for a few years now and seeing that whole Andrew Luck saga unfold and how he handles the team, a bona fide crazy person.
Hiring Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, that whole move last year, just insane.
Well, here's a name
Absolutely
I've seen
insane.
before. Make him the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's he doing right now? He's on TV as an analyst, so he's overqualified.
It just makes me really wonder about what the environment is in that building and things like that, because like I don't want to speculate anything, but we all thought it was a little surprising when Andrew Luck was just all of a sudden, nope, that's it for me, and he might have just felt that way about the NFL in general, but I wonder if there were other factors there. They've been lost ever since Peyton left.
Yeah, ever since that like surfer guy took over. I forgot what that guy's name was.
Curtis Painter. That just popped right into my head as soon as you said surfer guy's head. I remember that guy.
Curtis Painter curse.
What do we think about Jacobs? Do you think he plays?
The reports say that they both expressed mutual interest in restarting talks. Some encouraging news.
I think he's super wary about what's going on the whole offensive side of the ball anyway. So why hurt yourself right now, not even knowing what's going to be happening going forward?
I think it's more likely, actually, at this point, that Jonathan Taylor is on a different team than Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yeah. I agree there.
Yeah. The whole situation is a mess, though.
Nick Bosa is also holding out, but it's because he is waiting to finalize his extension, and they say it's going to reset the market and make him the highest paid player. Just quick thoughts on that. Do you think he's deserving of that? Where do you think he ranks in like the top 5 defensive ends, like edge rushers?
Definitely top 3, I would say. He seems to just always be there, like a TJ Watt, just a game wrecker, like an Aaron Donald. I would still say those are like the top 3 guys. Didn't Aaron Donald become like the highest paid player or something, at least for a while? I don't not see Bosa being able to get that as well.
Did that contract benefit the Rams long term, putting that much stake into one defensive end?
No, but I feel like they had already kind of like sold everything they had for win now type of thing. So why not? It's not like they had any picks anyways. So who else are they going to get? You might as well pay the best guy you got.
I think he could definitely be the highest paid defensive end, maybe even highest paid on the team. Highest paid player in the league, though, is tough.
Didn't really work out when they lost Purdy.
Yeah.
As good as the defense was,
each team's different. If you have the money, then you should, I suppose. You do not want him to walk or become disillusioned or disinterested in the Niners and want to go somewhere else. So with some guys, you do need to hop to, I suppose.
They're fortunate in that they have Brock Purdy as their quarterback, so they're able to use that money towards Bosa. So just continuing with the San Francisco 49er theme, speaking of Brock Purdy, he is cleared to throw as of this past July. Right now, it looks like he is the QB1 and has Darnold, the QB2, and Trey Lance, the QB3. All reports have a lot of negative reviews about Trey Lance so far. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm not really surprised. I think that was just absolutely wasted pick. Guy's never played more than like a few games. I'm not surprised that Purdy's number 1. Not surprised at all. At least do it until you can't do it anymore. If he starts playing bad, then shake it up. But with what they did last year with him, why mess with that?
I mean, de facto should be the number 1. We got to see everyone compete against each other. And I'm sure he's going to get out during a preseason game and we'll just see what he looks like. If he can't throw, like if he actually can't do it in the game, that is, something else.
I think he'll physically have it when the season starts, but it is going to be his second season. People have tape on him now. So we'll see if it was actually like the real deal.
Very good point to make.
And then just quickly, just touching up Jimmy Garoppolo for the Raiders. He is cleared to practice now, as well as John Mechie of the Houston Texans. Jeff, your team is also cleared.
Yeah, he didn't play at all last year because of the leukemia, but he beat cancer and he's back. He looks good. Yeah.
Awesome.
He was a 1st-round pick last year, I think. 1st or 2nd rounder.
So. He was a 2nd-round pick.
From Alabama, right?
Yeah.
He was like the best Alabama receiver.
So they basically got a bonus 1st-round pick this year. Jimmy G, nice to see him playing. I'm excited to see if he can have the same type of success with the Raiders. I just don't think they're that great of a team, but if you got Devontae Adams, then the sky could be the limit for them if they can get a good connection going.
They play in a pretty tough division.
That is a problem
early. they can't rely on their defense at all. You just got to hope it's like a home game and the other team is just completely out of it because they're in Vegas or something. I don't have high hopes for the Raiders. Not a Jimmy G thing. I just don't think they're set for much. If Rodgers would have went there, I'd have the same feeling, I think.
I used to give Derek Carr a lot of crap, but the more I think about it, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's very conservative. I see even less like deep targets to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
We could probably blast through this other news. Dalvin Cook visiting the Jets.
Yeah, that could be huge.
Pretty wild if he goes over there. They got a good running back room. I don't think they need him so much. So he'd be probably taking a little bit of a pay cut to do that. If he goes and visits and he thinks it looks good, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up signing there.
Yeah, they're definitely building a super team over there in New York.
Yeah.
It just makes too much sense. He was there and they just got permission to film him for Hard Knocks. Just a matter of time before he signs
another
there.
stick it to Minnesota. Like,
I'm going to go join forces with Rodgers.
Yeah, that's what I kind of meant by that.
He'll be out of the NFC, but still, that's like a man. He left us for Rodgers.
Exactly, like a sour taste in a Vikings fan mouth for sure.
They have a stud running back already in Breece Hall, but he obviously got hurt last year,
injury
so
prone.
It makes sense that Dalvin Cook can hold down the fort for now.
Yeah, you got here. Bryce Young was named the starter.
We'll see how he does. I think he'll have a couple good games. I think he might be a tad bit undersized, but that doesn't matter too much anymore. He's just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson was also reported to have taken all the first team reps for the Colts too as well. I don't know if you know anything about CJ Stroud, Jeff.
They're still battling as far as I know. Nothing has been given. I think D'Amico Ryan said that they're all just taking equal reps for now.
Keeping it in the NFC South division, I saw on Twitter that Jimmy Graham had signed a 1-year deal with the Saints. And at first I thought it was one of those one day
joke. Yeah,
to retire. But no, it's actually a legit 1-year deal.
Wow. Catch some lightning in a bottle there with Carr. I don't know. Carr loves tight ends. Maybe they can get something going. That's almost more like a little fantasy bonus note for all of our listeners out there.
I don't really have any memories about Sony Michel, but he is retiring. I probably had him on a fantasy team once or twice. He had a couple
underwhelmed
fine games with the Pats.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Let's talk about those Sean Payton comments. Fun little sizzle reel at the end here. Just what did he say? Like it was an absolute embarrassment of a coaching job last year or something along those lines?
Essentially, yes. And he was basically hating on Nathaniel Hackett, the current Jets OC, and just their whole management and staff. He even kind of took some subtle shots at like the ownership and like the general manager who is still currently there.
That's what I was going to say. They didn't get rid of everyone.
It was just a little bit bold and I feel like unnecessary.
One of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah. Oh my God.
I was never a big Sean Payton fan to begin with.
Didn't he get suspended for a whole year too?
He also had Bountygate too.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd have a much different career arc if he didn't win in 2009.
Even then, though, you had
they were a good team that year, though. They
they were, yeah.
In Indianapolis, they were a good team.
Yeah, they were a good year a lot, though, and they just never quite got over that hump. Something would always happen in the playoffs, whether it was that crazy Alex Smith run, the no flag game, that was the PI
over everyone.
You know, there's just like something that happened every year to them that's just like they couldn't get there again. I feel bad for Drew Brees because that guy was so good. I love Rivers, but I always thought about what the Chargers could have maybe been if they had kept Brees and had LT and some of those other guys. Maybe that would have been enough to get them over the hump, even though they had horrible coaches. But if Sean Payton can fix whatever the hell happened to Russell Wilson last year, I will throw a little more respect on his name. But it's not a great start to be already dissing the people that just gave you a shit ton of money and a new contract after you basically were like out of the league for a little bit. And some of them are still like your boss.
Just want to mention too about Sean Payton. He did say in his press conference that he was going to contact and call Nathaniel Hackett. It's been like a few days. Nathaniel Hackett said that he has not heard anything from Sean Payton.
No way he's calling him. Yeah. What's he going to call him? Be like, hey man, sorry, but you guys did suck.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Was I wrong?
All eyes are on week 5. That is going to be New York Jets against Denver Broncos. Let's hope that's a primetime game.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that at the end of last year, I would have been like, sign me up, man.
Rodgers is going to throw like 8 touchdowns for
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner is going to run 6 interceptions back.
Yeah. I'm calling it 35-21.
Futures bet right now. Everybody
Jets.
put your money on the Jets week 5.
Jets
Yeah.
10-7. Why not? Let's do it.
I thought you just said oh, Andy said
I say like 50-7.
Yeah. I do think the Broncos will be better this year. I was pretty low on them last year, and they did exactly as good as I thought they were going to.
You did call that.
I think they will be better, but like Caleb said earlier with the Raiders, you got to play the Chargers twice. You got to play the Chiefs twice. You got to play the Raiders twice. You got to play some other people. They do get to play all those 4th place teams.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a bonus, but still, like, the AFC is no joke. So I still think they're going to come in 3rd in the division.
Oh, at best, yeah. They just might tie with the Raiders.
I do think Sean Payton gets you a few more wins and is a good quarterback guy and can get Russell going a little better. And it seems like Russell cares again somehow. I don't know. He's like more fit and lost weight. I don't know why he didn't care last year, but
Hackett.
We'll see. Worst coaching job in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe he really was. I don't know.
It'll be funny to see like if the Jets like have a better record than them this year.
Yeah.
Next month when we're together, when we put down some season bets, we'll have to make a little podcast out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. We got a few more weeks to go until we do our NFL Schlab fantasy draft out in Arizona. We have quite a few participants going. Not everyone, of course, but we'll do some videos for that. We'll have some fun content coming your way towards the end of the month for the Schlabcast.
But yeah, training camp is here. Preseason is 2 days away. NFL season is just right around the corner. So yeah, looking forward to it, guys. For Jeff and for Caleb, my name's Andy, and thank you all again for tuning into the Schlabcast. And as always, Shaba.
Shaba.
Shaba.